Got it.
I got a receipt. You have a receipt from the city?
Yes, I have it right here.
Britain's retail sector is collapsing. December 2025. Not from online competition, not from economic downturn, but from organised criminal gangs who are systematically stripping stores bare while police watch helplessly and politicians offer meaningless platitudes. Shoplifting has reached 530,643 offences across England and Wales in the year ending March 2025, the highest number since records began. That's 3 thefts every single minute being reported to police, nearly double the rate from 2 decades ago. And those are just the ones that get reported. London saw 93,705 shoplifting crimes recorded by the Met Police in the year to March 2025, up a staggering 54% from the previous year. That's the highest number since records began in 2002. In just 12 months from May 2024 to May 2025, shoplifting offences in London surged to 102,083, an annual increase of nearly 42%. These aren't teenagers nicking chocolate bars. These are sophisticated criminal operations, stealing to order, stripping entire shelves, threatening staff with knives, and operating with complete impunity while the government fumbles its response. But real quick, before we expose the full scale of this catastrophe, let's be honest. Corporate media won't tell you how bad this really is, because they're terrified of admitting law and order has completely broken down. That's why we built British Front Media to deliver unfiltered truth. If you want the real story on Britain's collapse, subscribe now. Your subscription keeps real journalism alive. Reason number 1. Organised crime gangs are operating industrial-scale theft operations and police can barely keep up. October 2025, the Metropolitan Police launched Operation Zoradon, the UK's largest ever crackdown on organised shoplifting gangs. Over 2 days, officers raided more than 120 shops suspected of buying items stolen from major retailers and reselling them at discounted prices. 32 people were arrested. Hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of items were seized, including branded food, makeup, and electrical devices. 9 stores were served with closure notices. What did they find? A mobile phone store in Woolwich with 2,000 phones seized, the majority believed to be stolen. A shop in Bromley with more than 150 suspected stolen items, including earphones, speakers, Lego sets, and beauty products, plus £70,000 in cash and luxury watches at a related address. One Woolwich store had £50,000 worth of gaming consoles hidden in a secret compartment, with 2,000 mobile phones also stashed in a concealed basement. An off-licence in Willesden had around £1,500 worth of goods believed stolen, including Starbucks travel mugs and Waterstones umbrellas. This is industrial-scale organised crime. Metropolitan Police Superintendent Luke Baldock stated, "Shoplifting is not a victimless crime, and the gangs involved are organised and have links to drugs and violence. Rogue shopkeepers who trade in stolen goods are funding criminal activity and driving up costs for everyone. But here's the damning part. Most of those arrested were already bailed. The largest operation in UK history, and within days the criminals are back on the streets. And this was just London. Just 2 days, just 120 shops. How many thousands more are operating right now across the country, buying stolen goods and reselling them while police lack the resources to investigate?" Commander Andy Featherstone described one vape shop as a business model of crime connected to 20 other stores selling illegal goods in South London. 20 stores, one network, operating for months or years before police finally shut them down. Reason number 2. Prolific individual shoplifters are hitting the same stores hundreds of times and getting away with it. October 2025. Mark Stavrou was sentenced to 3 years and 2 months imprisonment at Snaresbrook Crown Court. His crime? Targeting a Morrison's petrol station and Sainsbury's in Waltham Forest more than 100 times, stealing more than £16,000 worth of goods between January and July 2025. Not only did he brazenly steal thousands of pounds worth of goods, he used violence and threats towards staff. But here's the kicker. After being granted conditional bail in July, after being charged with 67 shoplifting offences at Sainsbury's and assault at Morrison's, Stavrou re-offended the very next day, committing further thefts at the same locations. The day after being released on bail, This man eventually pleaded guilty to 102 separate shoplifting offences, plus criminal damage, assault, and bicycle theft. 102 times. Think about that. He hit these stores 102 times before finally being stopped. How many other Stavros are out there right now hitting stores daily, knowing they face minimal consequences? A security guard recently stated he witnesses around £500 worth of goods being stolen every single day, from one store. One security officer named Sunday told ITV News he had a large knife pulled on him and was bitten during a theft. He described being afraid for his life, his children, his wife, his grandchildren. He identified at least 15 prolific shoplifters who steal meat, chocolate, and alcohol, then sell it to local off-licenses, he explained. The entire supply chain from theft to resale, operating openly while police are overwhelmed. Reason number 3, retailers are spending billions to combat theft, but still losing the war. UK retailers are losing £2.2 billion per year as direct result of shoplifting, according to the British Retail Consortium's latest crime survey. But that's not the full cost. Retailers are spending £1.8 billion per year on crime prevention efforts. That means the total cost of crime for UK retailers is £4.2 billion per year. A survey by the British Retail Consortium shows shops spent £1.8 billion on crime prevention measures last year, a 52% increase on previous years. Kensington shop owner Honushka Tony told ITV News that after her luxury store was broken into by a masked moped gang who stole over £500,000 worth of luxury items, the security for the new store is coming in at just under £100K. £100,000 on security for a single store, reinforced doors, CCTV systems, fog deterrents, facial recognition technology, AI systems to identify offenders with concealed weapons or stolen items. All of this technology, all of this investment, and shoplifting is still soaring. And who pays for all this security? You do. Retailers have already warned that the shoplifting crisis is adding at least 6 PT every transaction. Every time you buy groceries, you're subsidizing the theft that happens before you even walk into the store. The criminals steal, the retailers raise prices to cover losses and security costs. Law-abiding customers foot the bill, and the cycle continues. Reason number 4. Violence against retail workers has exploded, and staff are terrified to come to work. This isn't just about theft anymore. Retailers now experience more than 2,000 incidents of violence or abuse every single day, with weapon-related incidents up 180% year on year. The BRC reports 25,000 incidents involving a weapon in a single year, the equivalent of around 70 weapon-related incidents every day. A survey of almost 10,000 retail workers by trade union USDR found that 70% had experienced verbal abuse over the last year, while 46% had been threatened by a customer and 18% had been assaulted. Azadeh reported that more than 1,400 incidents of assault took place against its store colleagues last year, an average of 4 per day. Co-op revealed it faced an average of 1,000 incidents of shoplifting, abuse, violence, or antisocial behavior each day last year, up 44% from the year before. Koback Security Managing Director Diane Johnson describes a clear shift in offender behavior. What we are seeing now is that people simply aren't afraid anymore. Situations escalate incredibly quickly, far quicker than they ever used to. Knives are being produced much earlier, in incidents, and aggression comes to the surface almost immediately, largely because offenders know there is unlikely to be a police response. Read that again. Knives are being produced much earlier, in incidents. Security professionals are saying that criminals are pulling knives faster than ever before because they know police won't respond. This is what Britain has become. A country where shop workers face knife threats daily while trying to protect groceries worth a few pounds. Koback director Bryn Taylor explains, "We've genuinely seen shoplifters say things like, 'I'll take a sandwich, and if anyone approaches me, I'll take more. But as long as you let me take my sandwich, I'm going to leave you alone.' That level of confidence tells you everything. They know the system, they know the thresholds, and they know exactly how far they can push without expecting any real response." Reason number 5. The police response is pathetically inadequate, and criminals know they won't face consequences. Here's the brutal truth that exposes the entire system's failure. Almost 290,000 cases of shoplifting in England and Wales were closed by police without a suspect being identified, and only 18% led to an alleged perpetrator being charged. Let that sink in. 8 out of 10 shoplifting cases result in no charges whatsoever. The British Independent Retailers Association's crime survey shows the vast majority of crimes now go unreported, 91% of physical abuse incidents and 47% of thefts, because retailers have lost faith in police response. When incidents are reported, only 16.7% lead to prosecution. Why would retailers bother calling police when nothing happens? This creates a vicious cycle. Retailers stop reporting because police don't respond. Statistics underestimate the true scale of the problem. Politicians claim progress based on manipulated numbers. Meanwhile, industry analysis indicates less than 3% of shop thefts are actually reported to police, meaning the real number of offences could be astronomical. Kodak Managing Director Diane Johnson puts it bluntly: "People don't try to hide anymore. They don't cover their faces or sneak around stores. They plan to walk in openly, take what they want and leave. There's a very clear sense that they believe nothing will happen to them, and that loss of consequence has completely changed behaviour." Reason number 6, Britain's high street is dying and shoplifting is delivering the final blow. Almost 10,500 UK shops closed their doors for the final time in 2023, according to figures from the Centre for Retail Research. In 2024, 13,479 shops shut down, equivalent to 37 shops closing every single day. Out of these closures, more than half, 7,537, closed as a result of insolvency, while 5,942 were shuttered following cost-cutting or restructuring plans. Independent retailers bore the brunt, accounting for a staggering 84.1% of all closures as shutdown rates soared by over 45%. Professor Joshua Bamfield, Research Director at the Centre for Retail Research, projected that store closures would rise again in 2025, potentially reaching 17,350, with around 14,660 closures forecasted to come from independent businesses. Shoplifting isn't the only factor, but it's accelerating the collapse. The British Independent Retailers Association describes the situation as a retail crime crisis, with 83% saying theft has worsened over the past year, with physical abuse incidents nearly doubling. For independent retailers, every theft chips away at already razor-thin margins. Every violent incident drives away customers and staff. Every unprosecuted crime emboldens more criminals, and eventually they give up, they close their doors, they abandon the high street, and another community loses its local shop, its gathering place, its economic heart. Major chains like Homebase, The Body Shop, Lloyd's Pharmacy, Carpetright, and Ted Baker all succumbed to financial challenges in 2024. W.H. Smith, Monkey, Millets, and The Entertainer have announced closures for early 2025. The Altus Group estimated that the average shop's rates bill would nearly double, rising from £3,589 in 2024 to £25,000 to £8,613 for 2025 to 26, putting even more pressure on struggling retailers. So here's where we stand in December 2025. Organised crime gangs are operating industrial theft operations across London and Britain. Prolific individual shoplifters are hitting stores hundreds of times with minimal consequences. Retailers are spending billions on security while still hemorrhaging money. Violence against shop workers has exploded to unprecedented levels. Police can barely respond to a fraction of incidents. And Britain's high street is dying, shop by shop, closure by closure, while politicians fumble for solutions. London Mayor Sadiq Khan claims record funding from City Hall is helping the Met build on significant reductions achieved in theft and robbery, both down since the start of the year, with 92% more shoplifting cases solved. But solving 92% more cases means nothing when the baseline was pathetically low to begin with. When you go from prosecuting 14% to 16%, you haven't fixed the problem. You've just made the failure slightly less catastrophic. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood stated, "Shop theft is a scourge that tears at the fabric of communities. Growing up with parents who owned a corner shop, I know firsthand that there is nothing low-level about these crimes." Fine words, but what's the government actually doing? The Crime and Policing Bill 2025 removes the £200 threshold for low-level theft and introduces a standalone offence for assaulting retail workers. These are incremental changes that do nothing to address the fundamental breakdown in enforcement. The question facing every British shopper, every retailer, every community that depends on local shops is this: how many more stores must close before this government acknowledges that law and order has completely collapsed? How many more shop workers must be threatened with knives before adequate police resources are deployed? How many more billions must be stolen before criminals actually face meaningful consequences? Britain's shoplifting epidemic isn't a crime wave, it's a symptom of systemic failure. Failed policing, failed prosecution, failed deterrence, failed leadership. And while politicians congratulate themselves on meaningless statistics and token operations, organised gangs are stripping Britain's stores bare, prolific thieves are operating with impunity, and the high street is dying one closure at a time. The criminals are winning, the retailers are losing, and British communities are paying the price as their local shops disappear forever.